Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome to those who are just joining us for the Mercersburg Academy presentation. And welcome back for those of you who are joining us from after the break. We are really excited to welcome you to InAmerica's K-12 Fair and excited to speak with you on Mercersburg. And so just going to go through the agenda one more time for those of you who are just joining us. I will go ahead and just share my screen. So again, welcome to the 6th annual K-12 Private School Fair with InAmerica Education. We welcome you for those of you just joining, and for you, those of you who are joining us from after the break. And so you can find our headquarters here in New York. We are based in New York and out of China as well. We have an office over there. And so here is our contact information if you need anything. And so again, we just heard from Trinity School in New York and heard from Gavin Boyce, the Senior Associate Director of Admissions for the upper school. And we are excited to welcome Richard Mahoney from Mercersburg Academy, the Associate Director of Admissions there. And we will hear from him from 9:50 to 10:35. And we will be taking any questions that you have. Feel free to put it in the chat or send it into our team, and we will make sure to try to answer as many questions as possible towards the end. And then after this session, we will hear from St. Stephen's Episcopal School in Texas after a 5-minute break in between. So you can stick around, you can take that break, and we are excited to welcome Richard Mahoney. So thank you so much, Richard, for joining us. You are the Assistant Director of Admission over at Mercersburg Academy. And so welcome to the K-12 Fair. I'm excited to speak with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Can everyone hear me all right? Does that sound good?
Yes, perfect. Can hear you just
Perfect.
fine.
Awesome.
Awesome. So
I
um,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna preface this with if you have joined us in the past, Gavin was saying like, oh, isn't somebody going to translate this year? So no translation because we have an automated system that will translate for us. So it will just be you and I and whoever wants to chime in later on for questions at the very end. But yeah, so feel free to begin your presentation, and let me start off with a little short introduction of Mercersburg, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Um, and
Absolutely.
it'll be my take on Mercersburg, and then you can go into into more detail from your
Mhm.
perspective. But just to give a little background on Mercersburg Academy, it is an independent co-ed college preparatory boarding and day school for grades 9 through 12 and for postgraduates, and has a really rich history dating all the way back to 1836. And I would say that the community at Mercersburg is very rich with daily customs and annual events, a lot of traditions to bring school spirit and warmth to the school. And there was a saying on your website that I felt was really powerful. It said, "You are the main character in your own story. Start creating that story here." And
Mhm.
I feel like that is something that we as educational consultants strongly are trying to help high school students find, is that this is their time, this is their story. It's the greatest time to discover who you are, what your passions are, and where your interests lie before heading out into the real world as an adult.
Mhm.
And so being, with an emphasis on every student being really prepared, but also for having that like global citizenship and wanting to be high achieving as an individual, but also being really community oriented as well. So hopefully I summed up a little bit about Mercersburg and my
Yeah.
my kind of
Yeah.
takeaway from it. But feel free to go ahead and present on Mercersburg Academy and share your perspective and what the school would like everybody to know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. We are really good about enabling our students and pushing them to, giving them the tools to be successful here on campus. I will go ahead and share my screen.
Perfect.
Um, if that is all right with you. I've put together
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
presentation here for the viewers, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing than just looking at me here.
At
So
us.
our first our first picture here, I love to just go into detail. It is the library on campus, and then in the background there, you can see the chapel. Um, a unique thing that we like to kind of brag about is that our chapel, the architect and designer, were the same people that did Yale, Princeton, and St. Andrews Sewanee University at the South Chapel, which, if you haven't seen any of those, they are gorgeous. And so is ours. So you can see the chapel in the background there, and the doors of the chapel and the doors of the library actually line up perfectly. So if you're standing in front of the library, you can see dead straight into the chapel, which is pretty cool. But um, moving ahead, you kind of went into detail. You did say we were established in 1839, I think it was, but that is when we were a college. Previously, Mercersburg used to be part of Franklin and Marshall College. We were Franklin College, and they teamed up with Marshall and became a co-ed college. And in 1893, we became an independent boarding school. So we have been around for that long. We just became a boarding school in 1893. We are located in South Central Pennsylvania. It's about an hour and a half away from Washington, D.C. And you guys can see the other distances from the other cities there. So not too far from New York City, which is, a major metropolitan area. Um, and then Dulles is also a international airport that a lot of our students will use for breaks and things. We sit right on a 300-acre campus, as you can see from some of the photos. We have the luxury of being able to spread out. Quite literally, our students are, all over campus. They use a good amount of our 300 acres. Um, we've got about 12,000 alumni in 91 countries. And this year we've got about a 19% international population amongst our students. And I think that we are about 27 countries represented. That obviously changes every year, so I'm still getting refreshed on each year. I believe this year is 27 countries. Oh, here we go. Perfect. 29 countries or 29 states, 31 countries represented. So we are 20% international, 50-50 boys, girls, 1% non-binary students as of this year, 81% boarding. So our residential community is a majority of our population. A lot of the kids are on campus on the weekends doing fun activities, enjoying each other. So yeah. This slide goes a little bit into our academic offerings. So this year we're offering 150 courses, and two of the things that we like to hang our hat on are our capstone programs. And what those are, essentially is the students are able to pick a topic that they are passionate about, ranging from, anything that you can think of. I've seen students build surfboards. I've seen students do studies on the effect of divorce. I have seen students build major bomb detecting robots. So it's really like whatever you're interested in and passionate about. The teachers will help you come up with a question or something to research, and then you're on your own. So there's a
That's really
2-year
cool.
program. Yeah, it's a crazy project that a lot of our students like love. When I first got here, I was like, oh man, that's interesting. I wonder how the kids feel about that.
The
And the
bomb
kids
detecting
love it.
robot is pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's an interesting story there. That student created a bomb detecting robot. He interviewed some local police departments around here and realized the funding was so lackluster in some of the departments that he wanted to help out. So he created this bomb detecting robot that he created at Mercersburg. And he worked all summer and also got some outside funding, and we helped him, we supported him by giving him some money and our resources. He took that project, he went to college with it, and then after college, he created a company out of it where he is helping underprivileged police departments with bomb detecting robots, which is, our ultimate goal. We want our students to find something that they are passionate about here at Mercersburg and be able to take that to college and show their friends. And potentially take it to the outside market. It doesn't have to be a business either. It could just be, a passion.
Mm.
Um, so the capstone projects, there are two different offerings. You can do the 2-year program, which is a little bit more rigorous and you have to apply to get into. And then there's a 1-year program where all of our seniors have to do it. So the students are doing it at some capacity, no matter what. It's just a matter of how into it your project is and what you're really looking for.
That's
Um,
amazing. Sounds like students at Mercersburg take great initiative to, when they're passionate about something, that they really just go all in for it. I mean, the students started, like you said, it doesn't have to be a business, but saw a need and kind of tried to fill that need. So I think that's wonderful.
yeah, our students are really, really go-getters. It is fascinating to see sometimes these high school kids. I'm like, oh my God, like this is like a full grown adult and you're making moves and business moves that are going to set you up for your future, when in reality they're just passionate about something, and it's amazing to see. Our students are really good about helping each other out too. It's not very much a pressure cooker environment. A lot of people, it's funny, it's almost like I like to say it because I think it's a highlight of our community. But a lot of people will describe Mercersburg as a New England boarding school without the sharp elbows or the sharp corners. So we have all the facilities, the rigorous academics, the athletics, but our community is so like loving and uplifting. The students here want to see each other be successful, and it's great to see. It's very refreshing. So back to the academics, we have a 4-to-1 student to faculty ratio. Um, we offer so many different courses, including our language courses. And then we have a robotics program that is pretty extensive. We've got a full makers lab. We actually have 2 makers labs on campus. One is specifically for robotics and like 3D printing. The other one is more for woodworking and other things that students are doing on campus. Um, yeah, so there's a great picture of our robotics team there. They compete at the Robo Cup, which is an international tournament. They typically travel to different places, and we actually, Mercersburg Academy, will be hosting a major robotics tournament this year, which is pretty exciting. We took over the full field house and our teams, and we've invited, I think, 150 other teams to campus, which is going to be a whirlwind, but it will be so much fun. Um, we have 27 different athletic programs, varsity athletic programs, including some more niche ones like rock climbing, mountain biking, outdoor education is a big one, swimming, field hockey, soccer, football, basketball. Um, I always like to say the few sports that we do get asked about we do not have is ice hockey, fencing, and crew. Those are the 3 that we are always asked about. We don't have those 3.
They are
Um,
definitely growing in popularity. Um,
yeah, yeah,
fencing and crew have grown in popularity, but ice hockey is more of an upper New England boarding
yeah,
school.
yeah. I feel like the Mid Atlantic boarding schools, a couple of schools have them, but not many. I always
Right.
like to say that because some families are devastated. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we have got a great outdoor education program that you can do all 3 seasons of fall, winter, spring, and that consists of a ton of different things. You can do kayaking, you can do hiking, you can do rock climbing, you can do mountain biking, you can do skiing or snowboarding. Bunch of different stuff that you can get involved in with outdoor education. Um, and then we have a global exchange or travel program that our students love to take advantage of. Typically in the summer, we will take 3 or 4 trips internationally, and the students get to experience what that is like being abroad. We have a endowed fund that is specific for our travel programs, and they are not shy about using it. They, go to great places. I know that they spent a week on the coast of France this past summer. One of my colleagues in admissions got to be the faculty member on that. And they went to the beach, and they went on a beautiful cruise. They went to nice restaurants. So these students are getting to experience what it's like to be um, in different places of the world, get to experience different cultures and cuisines, and it's a beautiful thing. Um, Staying on topic with that, we have an extensive arts program as well. We offer three major productions every year, and then also three dance productions. Dance is one of our, I guess, priority sports. We offer it all 3 seasons, so you can dance from the first day of school all the way until the graduation, for all 4 years if you were to come in your ninth grade year. We have a jazz band, we have a string ensemble, we have so many different things that the students can get involved in with art outside of just the stereotypical classes. You can do activities after school, you can get involved with that. And we also love to see students who typically don't dance or sing or paint, get involved with that. And I think the community encourages that. We see a lot of our basketball boys, step outside their comfort zone and sign up as a guest role for the theater program in the winter. And so it's fun. It's fun to see the basketball boys go in and support their friend on stage. It's just a really unique thing where a lot of schools, students might feel that judgment or uncomfortable. They don't want to step outside their comfort zone. Where at Mercersburg, we really encourage that. This kind of dives into what I was talking about with the two different springboard capstone projects. The student who created that bomb detecting robot. This kind of just dives in and outlines exactly what that is. So you essentially create a project, and you are able to present it. Typically, the students will do these examples on the right hand side here. These are like the topics that students will pick through. So write your novels, pretty self-explanatory. You write a novel, you write a book, and then at the end of your experience, hopefully you can have enough passion to go through and publish that, get in touch with a publisher. And these just kind of outline Mercersburg history is a unique one where you're learning all about the history and the Olympians that have graduated from here and the amount of gold medals, the different people that have been involved and special alumni. So yeah, those are the topics that students are able to kind of branch off and choose from. This is a great picture here of one of our special traditions called Paint the Numbers that I actually, unfortunately, missed it this past weekend. I've been on the road traveling to
Oh, that's
other schools.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow on campus for the start of Family and Alumni Weekend, which is pretty exciting. But this picture here is so special to a lot of people because the seniors every year at the start of the year get to paint the numbers on the driveway up to campus. So when you pull into campus, you'll see it. It's right in the middle of the road. There's a big seal with the Mercersburg seal. And the kids get to paint it. And then throughout the year, these kids wear these sweatpants and sweatshirts, and it's really special to them. And they love it. So we offer so many different things to try to build our community. One of the special ones is family style meals. We do family style meals every lunch. And for the first few weeks of school, kids that are new to the community love it. They're like, oh my God, I don't have to think about who to sit with or where to sit if I'm sitting in the wrong table or things like that. So they just go into lunch and it's required for everyone. All the faculty will be there as well. And your table switches every 2 weeks. So you get to meet new people throughout the entire year. Our advisee groups are great as well. They're typically pretty small, 7 to 8 kids at max. And you get to know people in your grade and maybe step outside your comfort zone and talk to them in your advisee groups. The peer mentor group, too, I'll mention that. We offer at the beginning of the year our students to be assigned to a group of older kids. So there'll probably be like 4 or 5 younger kids and then 2 or 3 older kids, typically seniors that have been here for 4 years. And what that is they meet pretty often, and they just go through what it's like to be a Mercersburg student, what we expect out of our students. Um, Little things, right? Holding the door when people are behind you, or saying please and thank you, and welcoming the dining hall staff and the buildings and grounds crew. We want all of our students to, understand what it is to be a Mercersburg student, and we don't want them to look back and be like, oh, well, I was never taught, or I never knew that. So our students go back to that, upholding each other and making sure that everyone's being treated equally. Um, Obviously, we have dorms on campus. The kids love being in the dorms, meeting friends, their roommates, doing fun activities with their dorm, going bowling, or fun things like that. And then, paint the numbers is one of our school traditions. We offer so many different school traditions that the students get to, go through and be like, oh, some of the kids, they go, oh, my parents used to do this when they were students here, or I've heard so much about this. Paint the numbers. I can't wait to do it. Um, and I will move on to the next slide here. So this kind of goes into our college counseling, how we offer college counseling, what we offer, and then the 2024 matriculation list that we saw a lot of our students go to. So we have a 1 to 25 ratio for students to college counselors, which is fairly unique in the boarding school world. Most other boarding schools have like around a 1 to 45 ratio. So we're fortunate enough here to have that personalized, unique experience for our kids that, the college counselor gets to know them on a personal level and understand, what they're looking for in their college experience. Yeah, we offer it optionally in the ninth grade college counseling. Our college counselors, you know, don't really see it to be necessary we don't want to put that stress on a ninth grader of like, where are you going to college? What it looks like. We really have taken a lot of pride of, telling our students to just enjoy their time at Mercersburg and the right college will come. We don't want you to be making decisions here at Mercersburg that you think are going to affect your college placement in the long run. We want you to enjoy your time at Mercersburg, and we'll figure out the college when it's time. That's why we chose to go with the 10th grade option. Also, so that our college counselors could get to know the kids a little bit better in their ninth grade year, right? The college counselors are just like, me and everyone else. They're coaches, they're dorm parents, they're in the dining hall with lunch, they are advisees, they're advising the kids. So they want to get to know the kids before they become their college counselor. And also, like, if you have a special connection with a student, if the college counselor has a special connection with the student, they can say like, oh, I'd love to be that student's counselor. I feel like I know them pretty well. So yeah, the stuff on the right hand side there are all the special things that we offer for our students. ACT, SAT prep for 11th grade students. We require them to take the SAT or the ACT, and they're both held on campus. So there's no, leaving
No reason
campus.
not
You don't have to
to.
go anywhere. Yeah, we make it so easy for the students to do that. I know that it is a difficult test, but hopefully it will be worth it in the long run. The colleges down here are some of the colleges that we sent 2 or more students to in the past year. We see a ton of kids. I'm not seeing them on here, but NYU is a big one too. I think we sent 5 kids to NYU last year, which is a great school.
I said
But a handful.
I can't agree more. That's my alma mater. I went to NYU for
Ah,
graduate. So
that's awesome.
I
That's
was like,
awesome. We
no
see so many kids there.
NYU.
Yeah, we it's so funny. We had such a great class of kids, and 5 of them went to NYU, which I think
That's
there was
amazing.
a couple people like, oh my God, what are the chances?
Yeah.
And we had both a boy and girl go and play basketball there, which is cool.
Wow.
Their girls team is phenomenal for basketball. It's the best D3 program in the country.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, plenty of Ivy Leagues, plenty of other great schools. And then, we encourage our students to take um, whatever decision they make for college, we want it to be right for them. We don't want them to go to a Yale or Harvard or MIT just because of the name. We want them to go because, if they feel comfortable there, they want to go there, it works for them financially, all of those things. We are encouraging our students to make the right decision. So the one of my last few slides here is the application to Mercersburg, what that looks like. Our completion date is January 15th, so everything needs to be completed by January 15th. We moved that from January 31st in past years, so I just wanted to get that out there. All international students coming from China, Hong Kong, or South Korea are going to be using Verican, and then from there we will reach out to set up an interview. The Verican technically qualifies as your interview. However, we will be reviewing the interviews and going through checking that out. And then, oh, I'm so sorry, switch that there. Going through and plugging the students that we are going to interview. We do require a TOEFL or Duolingo for our English proficiency tests, as well as the SSAT. It's not required, we're test optional. However, we would prefer to see that, or I guess we're test recommended is what we're saying. It's not test optional. So we recommend that you submit the SSAT, especially if you take it. Yeah. And then my next slide here. So we accept applications through the SAO standard application online as well as Gateway. We prefer the SAO. It's a little bit more user-friendly on our side of things. However, we see students use both applications. You do not need to submit both. Just one will do. And then the requirements to submit or complete your application is below. So interview or Verican, the student application, the transcripts for the past 2 years of grades, 3 letters of recommendations, the standardized test scored, preferred, not required, and then the English proficiency test. And I will say the English proficiency test, if you have been at an English speaking school or an international school for 3 or more years, you do not need to submit that. That is more for students that are, struggling with English or, going through the process of learning English.
Is there like a preferred, sorry to interrupt.
No,
Is there
you're
like
good.
a
You're
preferred, like score that you like for like TOEFL, or like like a percentile for SSAT for like international and domestic that you typically
good. Yeah.
like look for, give a baseline for?
Yeah, we don't have a baseline. We don't like to, put that pressure on kids and be like, I have to get a 95 percentile on the SSAT to be considered at Mercersburg. It really, it goes into consideration, the SSAT, when it is submitted. When students submit it, we have to consider it because it is part of the application. However, if they don't submit it, we don't look at it or weight it into the application or the recommendation. I think that it really depends. We have students here from all different parts of the world that have different Duolingos. Like we know, for example, there are certain countries that have lower Duolingo or TOEFL tests or scores. However, when they get to campus, they can pick it up pretty quickly, or they understand it pretty quickly. We just don't want to get a kid here who isn't going to be successful, or our teachers are going to have to translate tests. So that sort of thing is going to be like,
Right, of
this
course.
isn't going to
Yeah.
work for us.
You want to
But
support.
I wouldn't say that we have a set number that we're
Okay.
looking for.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, of course. And I was opening the chat here. I know that there was a few. I don't know if anyone asked questions in the chat.
No questions have come in through the chat just yet.
Perfect.
But
Okay.
I can go ahead and start off with some questions that
Of
that
course.
we prepared for Mercersburg as well. Can you describe a little bit about, obviously all students are beginning at the same point for ninth grade. Is there some kind of you mentioned a lot about like traditions and things like that. Is there
Mhm.
something that you feel Mercersburg does really well to help students with that transition, especially for those who might be new to boarding, and really help establish that sense of belonging?
Yeah, I think the peer group mentorship that I was talking about, where you're paired up with older students, um, has been super beneficial for us as a community because it helps not only create a connection with younger and older students, but it also helps the younger students understand, what the expectations are and how we operate. Um, we also, the first few weeks of school is very much like um, a learning process for everyone, right? You're learning in the dorm what it's like to live away from home, what it's like to be with a roommate. And to be completely honest, it's difficult. It's really hard for a lot of kids to be, 14, 15 years old and away from their family, away from their parents from the first time ever. But we have support systems in place where, the dorm parents are communicating with the kids at least once a week to make sure that they're doing okay. The academic advisor is reaching out to the parents and the families or the students to make sure that they're uh, everything's going well in classes. So the first few weeks, it's like there's so many different touch points for students. And they might not even realize it, but like we are setting up meetings. We have 3 full-time counselors here on campus. So if the students have, even if they think it's a small little issue, we want them to talk to them and feel comfortable going over there and just like expressing their feelings. Um, so I think that the things that we do here, the peer group leading, the advising, the family style lunches really help you feel like you're creating this community and you're being a part of it. No one wants to go into an area and not feel welcome or feel like they don't belong there. So our students that have been here for a while, they know that. They know what that feeling is like of being like, oh my God, I don't know anybody. What am I doing? Did I make the wrong decision? Should I go home? So the older kids are really good about, taking somebody on their wing and be like, hey, listen, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be difficult, but you're going to get through it. It's going to be so much fun. The end of your ninth grade year, moving forward into your senior year, you're going to have the greatest time of your life. So those are the things that we kind of do.
And yeah, I think that that's awesome. I think there's so many, like you said, so many different touch points for students who are transitioning. And the family style meals, I think, is so great. I know that, there are some boarding schools that do that, and I think it's great that Mercersburg does as well because
Mhm.
um in the rotation, right? So they're not just
Mhm.
getting to know like one set of students, but they're getting to know a number of students, and then they can kind of find their place, or, oh, I sat with so and so at lunch, and this they play this sport. I might give it a try, right? Like you never know what can
Yeah.
happen in conversation. So
Yeah.
I think it's great for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
I uh I see there's 2 comments coming in about the partnership with colleges. I want to touch on that. Um, As of right now, we do not have any sort of partnership with colleges. I think that our location hinders us in a few different ways, one that being one of them. We are fairly far away from any sort of colleges. I'd say Gettysburg College, which is a pretty good school, is probably the closest. That's about 45 minutes. So, having the students transported over there, transported over there, and then having the class time, being able to use their facilities, it would just be a little bit too much as far as timing wise. And then I saw community service as well. We have graduation requirements for community service. Our students they're nothing crazy, like 5 hours, 8 hours your ninth grade year, and then it gradually gets a little bit more. But there are required community service times and days where the entire community of Mercersburg will get off campus and do something for the community. We recognize how fortunate we are financially, and we are able to do certain things. One really cool thing that we do is pancakes and pajamas for dinner one night. And we realized that if we, I think it's actually 2 nights a year, 2 nights a year, the students will dress up in their pajamas and we will do pancakes for dinner. And we realized that the amount of money that we saved just buying pancakes versus like regular food, we were able to feed a local homeless shelter every Sunday for an entire year. And that's one thing that we do. And it's amazing because it doesn't affect our community at all. The kids love it. They get to go and eat pancakes and it helps the homeless shelter. And it's really great.
That's awesome.
Um,
Who doesn't
yeah.
love breakfast for dinner? And what's even better is when you can do that and know that it also helps support a really great cause.
Hmm.
So I think that's wonderful. There's
Yeah.
another question about resources that Mercersburg provides for international students to help them succeed academically, especially for ninth graders.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously we understand that like as far as like resources in place. I would say it's more than just for international students. However, for international students specifically, we invite them to a dinner a few days before we invite everyone else on campus. One, so that they can get to be a little bit more adjusted from the time zones, right? The kids come over here and it's like they're in shock almost. It's like they're coming to a new country. They've never met people. They're in a new community. They're starting a different school. It's like all of these different changes, major life events. So we invite all the families to come a few days before and do a nice dinner, and you can meet other international families. You can get to see like, oh, like this is my community here. Like inside of this bigger community, this is my community right here. And it helps the parents connect too. It helps the parents, parents are going through just as difficult of a time sending their kid away, and that adjustment is not easy. So the dinner is one thing that we do. We have different alumni family or current families reach out to the other families, just to give them their insight of like, hey, we are booking a flight now for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I would suggest you guys also look into that. So there's different resources that these families can use. As like points of contact, very similar to the students' points of contact, the families as well. We have the advisors reach out typically throughout the first few weeks of school to contact with the parents. And that's not just for international students, but all students. Um, we also encourage them to meet, kids from the same country so that they can feel like that sense of comfort. They can talk about the things that they miss, whether that's home cooking or, different things that they don't have anymore, don't have the luxury of having anymore. So those are the things I guess that we do for our international students.
Great.
Yeah.
Looks like there's another question about is there like requirements for maintaining school grades or like GPA for all students?
Yeah, there's not a specific requirement. I think there is like, if you drop below a certain threshold, there will be, you have to go to, Friday night study hall for the students. The parents will be informed. I'm not sure on that specific number. I think it's a little bit different for each student, right? We understand that, a ninth grader coming in is going to have a much greater dip before they start to incline back up just because of you know the different
Adjustment.
schooling. Yeah, the adjustment period of like, okay, this is crazy and wild and new to me, uh, versus our seniors, a 4-year senior coming in. It's like, okay, he knows what to expect. He's just kicking back and relaxing. um, there's so many different safety nets you'd have to fall through to be in poor standing now, right? The teachers pick up on it pretty quickly of like, okay, they're not in class, they're showing up late, they're not doing their homework. The advisors get involved pretty quickly. The dean of students will get involved, the dean of academics. And in that whole time, most of the time, as long as it's okay, we will be reaching out to the family as well. Um, oh, I think families meant accept MAP assessments. Um, I'm not sure. I don't know what MAP assessment is.
I'm
Is
not
that
really
a
I'm not really too sure either. But maybe what they're trying to ask is like accept all types of GPA at their current school. So, oh, sorry, maybe the admission requirement for
Mm,
GPAs, since every school has varying ways that they grade,
yeah, yeah. This kind of goes back to the SSAT, TOEFL, like specific number. I don't think we're looking for a specific number. We are very understanding in the admissions process of, if this kid maybe had a family member pass away or a major life event happen, their grades take a dip. We don't want to hold that against them, right? Because some of these kids are eighth grade kids and they make mistakes. They're gonna go through that. But as long as we see somewhat of a steady incline back up, or if the kid is doing really well all across all the boards, um, we are more than happy to consider that student. I wouldn't say that we have a specific number, and I don't want to give you a specific number again because I don't want families or students to think like I have to get a 4.0 or a 3.8 GPA to be considered. Um, it really depends. It depends on the student, depends on all of these different things. Outside of just that one number, there's so many different variables that we take into consideration. Um, I do want to touch on the I saw like in athletics, some of our priority sports
Yeah.
programs or athletic programs that we excel in. Um, our priority sports this year, which just means we are um, having two or more seasons of, and the students are, I guess, prioritized in certain ways, is boys and girls soccer, um, boys and girls squash, boys and girls swimming, boys and girls basketball, and boys and girls lacrosse. So those five sports. As far as our sports programs that are really, really great is our swim program. Our swim program is one of the best in the nation. We've had a plethora of Olympians graduate, and another really cool thing is we have the most alumni with gold medals. We have 9 alumni with gold medals. So we like to associate our Olympics with gold medals. And we are the only high school in the country not confirmed by the Olympic Committee. However, it's confirmed by one of our students. They did a research project through the capstone experience, finding out more about our Olympic history in Mercersburg and how our swim program became so great. So we have an Olympic-sized swimming pool on campus. It's 50 meters. It's pretty much brand new. It got built in 2019, and it's gorgeous. And then squash, I'd say, is another big one for us. We have a phenomenal squash team.
Well, great. Yeah, no, that's great for us to know. And again, really, really nice way to tie in the initiative that students take for capstone projects and things like that
Yeah,
in studying the not only the bomb detector robot, but also finding out
yeah,
more about the Olympics and how it relates
yeah,
to Pittsburgh teams. So I'm not sure, we might have 2 more minutes to just ask a
sure.
really quick question. I'll ask more of a
Yep.
fun question, I guess.
Mhm.
So you mentioned that there's a lot of traditions, and I don't know if there is like one particular one, but wondering if students come back to visit school, what do you often hear would be their favorite memory of the
Mm,
school, or maybe if you would like to share one of your favorite memories. I know that you showed the picture, and
yeah.
we're sad about missing out, but is there something that often students like their takeaways, like, oh, I loved this experience?
Yeah. I think like the kids that come back really say the dorm life is really special because you're you're a child, you're a 14, 15-year old, but you're with other of your friends, and it's like you're making the most silly memories, you're doing fun things. um Last year one of our kids had a great story, and he told it at our open house in front of all the families. It was great. He was like, one of my things that I'm going to miss the most is that I got to hang out with some of my best friends, and on the last night of school we like accidentally stayed up the entire night, and a lot of the kids were flying out in the morning, a lot of international students. And he was like, we looked at the clock and all of a sudden it was 4 a.m. Like we had such a great time, lost in conversation, fun games, exciting things. Um, and it was difficult for them to go to bed. So that I'd say is like the big thing. My favorite tradition is step songs. All of our students get up on the steps of Main Hall, which is our biggest dorm, and they sing the alma mater and a few other songs, and then they walk through campus. The seniors leading us, they walk through campus and light a bonfire. I'd say that's my favorite, and that happens this weekend. So we have two major traditions that happens a week apart, which is exciting.
Wow. Wow, awesome. It sounds like there is, a really rich community and, founded on a lot of school traditions that really make a wonderful experience at Mercersburg. And we really
Mhm.
appreciate you joining us today, Richard, and sharing all about Mercersburg Academy. So if anybody who's watching has any questions, you can feel free to reach out to Richard. He shared his
Yeah.
contact information in the slides, or you can reach out to our
Mhm.
team and we can help connect. So we are about to take a 5-minute break. Please stay tuned. The next presentation will begin in 5 minutes. So again, thank you, Richard, for joining us. And
Thank you,
the next,
guys.
thank you so much. The next school that we'll be presenting is St. Stephen's Episcopal School, and our guest speaker, Sarah Tahir, is the Assistant Director of Admission. I hope I said your name correctly. And they will be joining and speaking in 5 minutes. So please stay tuned.
InAmerica International was born in 2013 in Philadelphia and nurtured in New York City, two hotspots for elite U.S. colleges and universities. With over a decade of experience, InAmerica has assembled a diverse professional consulting team with a rich and trustworthy network of comprehensive educational resources. We use an exclusive long-term planning theoretical model. We provide a comprehensive assessment of each family that compares indicators of success from the private school interview system with their personal needs and goals. Courses designed to improve students' critical thinking and writing skills, all while developing their passion for learning. Personalized background enhancement services tailored to each student's unique interests. Our support incorporates school academic planning and activities advising, plus background enrichment, plus internship application and guidance. Our experienced consultants evaluate each student to guide them through every step of the application process, while considering their unique strengths and areas that need to be further developed. Our interview training course, developed by senior consultants from Ivy League universities, increases students' comfort level and competency with high-impact interviews. A skilled team consisting of native English-speaking consultants, editors, and a senior essay mentor supports students in brainstorming their personal and supplemental essays. Families receive a multi-dimensional refinement of their application materials, overseen by a team of industry professionals. The skills learned through the consulting partnership are invaluable to every student's future. Our highly specialized educational resources support students' college learning and career development well beyond their initial applications. The consulting team provides a comprehensive evaluation of each student's background. They analyze past university enrollment time, compare it to the student's profile to make recommendations on best fit colleges and a major selection strategy. With InAmerica by your side, you can expect the strongest results possible. Our highly individualized approach consistently achieves acceptance to the top universities globally. With over 10 years of experience, InAmerica's rich history of educational success continues to enrich the lives of students all over the world. We look forward to helping you next.
All right. Good morning and good evening, depending where you are. Welcome to our 6th annual K-12 private school fair, host for Victor. And I'll provide a short introduction of myself in a little bit. But today we are honored to have SSTX, St. Stephen's Episcopal School here with us. And we are honored to have Sarah here as well. And then Sarah, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Great, awesome. So for this session, I will be doing this short introduction for about 5 minutes, and then Sarah, feel free to share your screen and do the presentation for about a half an hour, 35 minutes, and then we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A. And this fair is also being live broadcast on different platforms, and for the platforms targeting our Chinese students and families, there will be live caption with live translation as well. And then we also have a colleague serving as an assistant in that platform as well. They will be gathering questions and sending to us at the end of the session. But to make everything more convenient, I will also be translating a little bit as well. So during your presentation, if that's possible, feel free to pause after a section or two, and then I can briefly summarize and translate as well. That sound all right to you?
Yeah, that sounds great. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
And then
great.
yes, let's get started. Let me introduce myself first, and then I'll do a brief translation as well after Sarah. And then so again, welcome everybody. My name is Victor Liu. I'm a consultant for the K-12 division here at InAmerica Education. And just a little bit more about myself. I went to both a junior boarding school and a boarding school here in the US, not in Texas though, in the Northeast. I also went to, I received my bachelor's degree from Hamilton College in upstate New York, and my master's degree in education from the University of Pennsylvania. Before joining InAmerica, I briefly worked at the college level in admissions, both as an interviewer and as an application reader. And then I also briefly worked in the educational technology industry before here as well. And then I'll give the mic to Sarah for her to introduce herself a little bit. All right.
Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Sarah Tahir, and I am an assistant director of admission at St. Stephen's Episcopal School in Austin, Texas. My work primarily entails supporting international students and their families. And so I do a lot of work recruiting and meeting with families from all around the world. It's really lovely to be here with you all. I've been at St. Stephen's for a little over a year. And prior to joining, I worked in consulting capacity in schools across the US and around the world, and then also taught for several years. And so it's really nice to see you all and to share a little bit about St. Stephen's and why it's a special place.
Great, absolutely. And then I'll do a brief translation. 大家好，欢迎来到我们今天的直播，我们今天的 K12美国私立学校展会。然后呢，我是 Victor，我是咱们在美教育这边的 K12顾问。然后呢，我的初中和高中都是在美国这边的私立高中度过的，私立学校度过的。然后我的本科是在纽约上州的 Hamilton College，然后我的研究生是在宾夕法尼亚大学。然后今天我们有幸请到我们的招生官 Sarah，她是我们在德州的St. Stephen Episcopal School 的助理招生官，然后主要负责国际生的招生。然后我们今天是美国这边时间的美东时间的9月26号早上10:44，也是中国时间的晚上10:44。All right， 所以让我们现在就开始吧。And the assistant just told us that as of right now for today, we have more than 2,800 viewers. So yeah, very excited. Let's get started.
Yeah, great, excellent. So I will share my screen.
Awesome.